Big elephant in the room in trading is how stressful trading can be. However, in this video, I'm going to unpack a very clean and simple concept that you can implement by the end of watching this video into your trading to make trading less stressful for you. I get it, money's involved. And very early on in your career, you don't have much to trade with, and hence why and how stressful that situation can be for yourself. Trading requires money. So it is a no-brainer that if you're putting the very little that you have in, that it can be quite stressful. I'm going to unpack a system that I use and have helped hundreds do the same on how to make trading less stressful. It's very simple and you can implement it by the end of watching this video. So let's dive in. Right guys, it is no word of a lie that trading can be very stressful. However, I've put this together for you just to quickly run through some of the factors as to why, but more importantly, we're going to get to at the end of the video on how to improve that for yourself. So obviously trading is very stressful and there is always that pressure to win every trade. When you're starting out, you don't have much money, and it is a very good thing that you don't have a lot of money starting out, because on your beginning stages as a trader, what you're trying to do for yourself is build proof of concept. There is no point chucking large sums of money at something that can't sustain volatility over time. So your job when you're starting out is to build a system and a strategy that can withstand periods of volatility. I always say anywhere between 6 and 12 months is a good measure of volatility management. However, you can't go through a 2-week winning streak and all of a sudden quit your job, because chances are if you experience a little bit of volatility that you're not used to, you're really going to be put under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. So pressure to win every trade can often come from family members, right? The expectation to win. You're going on social media, you see everyone's winning every single trade. And the truth is that's not going to happen. You are going to lose trades. It is going to happen. But what you really want to do is put yourself in a position and create an environment for yourself which allows you to lose. As crazy as that sounds, that will make more sense further down in the video. The expectation of making a lot of money. This is something that is portrayed via social media, but it is why we're all in this game. No one started trading to be broke. No one started trading just to live a mundane lifestyle. You obviously are in this market to make more money, to live a better quality of life. So the expectation of making a lot of money is always there on the front end. However, it is something that can very easily be managed, which I'll show you later in the video. When you have the expectation of making a lot of money, and as I mentioned on the previous point, the pressure to win every trade and to make a lot of money, that will lead you to having hope in the market. And that isn't really a strategy that can be scaled and can be repeated. I often mention this in my content, which I'm sure you will by now have heard me say many times. If your strategy cannot be repeated over time and cannot be scaled, it is not a profitable strategy at all. And it is more than likely just hope in the market. You see, when you abide by a simple hope strategy, what you're really doing for yourself is putting yourself in the best opportunity to fail further down the line. I'm pretty sure we can both agree that there is no reason for you to go ahead and make £100,000 tomorrow if you're probably going to give it back in the next couple of weeks. That is hopeful trading, and it is not strategy orientated and strategy based for you to go ahead and continue to make that £100,000, right? So whatever situation you're in right now, just know that your primary objective and your primary focus should be finding a strategy and a system that can just be repeated, right? And if you can do that, you know that you're in a good position to continue doing this long term, and you'll be in a position that in 4 or 5 years from now, you're still in the markets, you're still extracting profits from the markets. But what you don't want to do is have this wishful thinking of, all right, I'm going to quickly punt in the market, and you think in your mind that you can be able to do that every single time, which is likely not going to happen. So having no strategy there comes from the expectation of constantly winning, all right? And the expectation of having loads of money on the front end. See, trading is a vehicle to generate you returns based on the capital that you're trading. If you expect to make large sums of money with very small amounts of money on the front end, that is great for a challenge, for a quick account flip, that is fine. But if you're abiding by those principles throughout your trading career, it is likely in the future that you are going to blow up. Look, I love a great challenge. If you've been following me for many years, you will have watched the early account flips I did several years ago, turning 1K to 20. I've done it. Or I've done 1K to 50. I've done it. But the reality is that sort of approach cannot be repeated and it cannot be scaled. I love it from time to time. Throw a couple of grand in, do the flip, no problem. However, on my main accounts, it is something that I can't risk anymore. You cannot abide by that principle because it can't be repeated and it can't be scaled. So try and keep that in mind there, guys. And again, when you have no hope, when you have no strategy, and it's just hope, you want to win every single trade, and that expectation of constantly making loads of money on the front end, that will obviously lead to subconscious pressure from outside sources because you're a trader, right? And again, I always say this in the beginning, you don't have to run around and tell everyone you're a trader because people are going to have this expectation that all of a sudden you're rich, all of a sudden you're going to be able to solve everyone's problems and you're going to have loads of money and everyone's trying to borrow money off of you. It's going to happen, right? So again, all of these things, without realizing it, put subconscious pressure on you to make money in the market without you even realizing it. Before you know it, you're running straight into the market, forcing trades because you have the subconscious pressure in your mind, knowing that all of these pressures leads you to want to make money quick. And that is something that just can't be done because it can't be repeated, it can't be scaled. There's two scenarios in that type of trading. Either you're going to make a bunch of money, which is fine, it's great. Chances are you're going to continue to lose it all. Or second scenario of that type of trading, you're just going to lose your money in the beginning anyways. You're not going to make anything. So you really want to try and think about all of this, and I'm going to get to a conclusion on this, on how it can help you. What then ends up happening is you force trades and you end up blowing accounts. I ran a mentorship in the past for about 2 years on Discord, and I had around 100 traders come through and work with me in that period of time. And you'd be surprised how many traders were funding prop firm challenges on their credit cards. Now, I'm not saying this to dig at anyone. I'm saying this to speak the truth. You see, if you're funding prop firm challenges on your credit card, you're already doing all of this. You have the expectation of making money. There's the pressure to win every trade because now you're putting yourself in debt to buy a funded challenge, and you really want that funded challenge to pay out so that you can pay that debt and then you're at break even. Think about that for a second. So all of these pressures, right, lead to subconscious pressure to make money in the market. And it's these small little things that a person does without realizing it that, all right, this might actually be affecting how I trade. So you want to try and keep that in mind there. This will obviously lead you to blow accounts, be that personal or funded accounts. Again, when it comes to funded accounts, I'm actually going to do a series on this very, very soon. When it comes to funded accounts, you want to remind yourself, if you cannot, and you have not in the past, prove to yourself that your strategy can experience drawdown of less than 10% over a 6-month period. If you can prove that to yourself, go ahead, buy a funded challenge by all means. But if you cannot prove to yourself that you haven't experienced and sustained levels of drawdown over a 6-month period that has not exceeded 10%, there is no point putting money into a prop firm. Why? Chances are we're going back to the beginning cycle there. Subconscious pressure on outside sources, no strategy, just hope, the constant expectation of making money, the pressures to win every single trade. And again, all this adds up. It adds up without you realizing it. And again, if you're constantly blowing up accounts, what does that do? That puts more subconscious pressure on you to now make money quickly so that you can pay back what you've lost and then come back to break even. Stay at break even right now. It's my honest advice. Until you can prove to yourself that your strategy works, it can make money over a 6-month period, it can sustain levels of drawdown of less than 10% within a 6-month window, then invest some money into that strategy. into that approach. And again, I love speaking about this type of stuff because I can show you everything on the charts. Charts are irrelevant right now. This is a model that can be repeated and can be scaled if you get this right. Because whatever you look on the charts is irrelevant. You could trade on a blank chart for all I care. And you could actually make money over a 6-month period. It's true. I've seen it. I've done it with a coin, flipping a coin. We'll get into that in another video. But what you really want to do, guys, and the whole purpose of this video and trying to be transparent and honest here, is you want to create a system which provides you room for error. Well, that's the truth. This week in my free Telegram, I posted a GBP USD trade, right? Murphy's Law, it hit stop loss. Not a problem. I'll show that too, right? But the way that I trade, the system that I trade, allows room for error. Currently, if I have a 60 to 70% win rate, I'm losing on average 3 or 4 out of every 10 trades that I place. But I am not in any way, shape, or form going into the market with the expectation that I'm going to win every trade. Chances are it's not going to happen. So what you really want to do there for yourself is create a system which, again, allows room for error. It's the only true way to win at this game. And I mean that with true integrity. If you really want to win, you have to learn how to lose. Sounds strange, I know. If you really want to win, you have to learn how to lose there. Again, what is a way for me to do this? The way I do this personally is by trading through trading cycles. If you were in my community in the past, you would have heard me speak about this. I'm an advocate of trading in a 10 or 20 trade. You can call it sample sizes in the front end if you're still trying to figure your strategy out. But in reality, what you want to do is create a basket for yourself and place those 10 trades inside the basket, right? So treat it like a business. I've been in business all my life, right? I grew up in a business. My father had a business. I was working there since I was very, very young. And what you want to really think of this as a business is, and even if you explain it as a coffee shop, if you had a coffee shop, you want to, at the end of the day, look at how many coffees you've sold. You got to pay your staff. You got to save money for rent. You got to buy stock for the next day. You got to keep the business open. And then at the end of all of that, you can review how much profit you've made after all your coffee. But what the trading cycle there does for me is this allows me to make a basket. And I put all my trades in there. And if I put all my trades in that basket, I know that for myself, I abide by a 10 trade cycle. That means for me as a trader, all I care about is my next 10 trades. That's it. I'm not stressing about the future. I'm not stressing about anything else other than my next 10 trades. That's it. If I can stay focused on my next 10 trades and repeat that cycle, I don't care if I lose 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5. If you have a 1 to 2 risk reward with a 50% win rate and you win 5, you lose 5, you're still making money in a 10 trade cycle. So what this does for you, and I'll go to my previous point, this is a system that allows you room for error. So how do you build a trading cycle? Let's go into that. If you have a funded account, right, and you have a max drawdown of 10%, what that means is you have 10% and you're done. You're not trading with 100,000. Technically, you're trading with 10,000. So you got to take that 10,000 and think, how can I split this 10,000 up to go ahead and risk in the market? Is that in 10 trades? So is that in a 10, sorry, camera cut out there, but is that in a 10 trade cycle? So if you have the 10% that you're willing to risk, is that over 10 trades? Is that over 20 trades? And what this does for you guys is this allows room for error. I've seen way too many people, and heck, to be honest, I've done it in the past too. You're putting so much, and I'll go back to a previous point that I had on top. You're putting so much expectation to win every single trade if you're risking 3, 4, 5%, which means technically, if you're risking 5% on $100,000 on a challenge, you're risking half of your threshold. So you're risking 50% of your threshold. So you got 2 trades and you're done. Yeah, you might pass it if you get lucky, but what's the point? Because if you fail, you're going to have to put more money in. And again, what does that do? That creates the expectation of making more money. There's no strategy there. There's just hope. There's that subconscious pressure of outside sources, be that money that you're constantly throwing into the market. So the moral of this, guys and girls, is to trade in trading cycles. That's my advice anyways. It has helped so many people that I've worked with in the past, and it's been one of my fail safes, to be honest. Knowing that, all right, fine, if I just split my risk up, I'll be fine. I will make money. So what's the point of trying to be a hero and trying to be the best trader in the world and risk it all on one trade? For what? There is nothing to prove to anyone, right? However, if you're going to be trading like that, you're just not going to make any money. And then, yeah, this leads to the summary of me trading a 10 trade cycle. Let's wrap this video up and we'll go from there. Right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is a very raw, very unedited video that I want you to just listen to and play back if you have to. This is advice on what I've been doing, what works for me, what works for hundreds of others that have worked with me in the past. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Do make sure to subscribe to the channel. Drop a thumbs up on this video. If you enjoyed this, drop a comment down below. I really want to hear what you have to say. Also, check the links in the description. I'm going to be potentially launching my community again soon, so you'll have the opportunity to trade alongside me, follow what I'm doing, but more importantly, pick my brain. I've been in the game for a long time now. I know what works, but more importantly, I know what doesn't work, and that is something that makes a very big difference in the market. So if you've enjoyed this video, let me know. Also, drop me a message on Instagram. I'm active on my Instagram again. I've recovered it, kept getting taken down, but it's back. So drop me a message on there. I'll leave all the links that you need in the description of this video. I'll see you on the next video. Good luck. And more importantly, guys and girls, remember, you have time, right? The markets will be here before you. They will be here after you. There's absolutely no need to rush at all. Good luck. I'll see you in the next video.